Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Shalim Sultan, and today we will explore the topic culturally responsive teaching. To delve into discussion, you must be curious as to know who first developed culturally responsive teaching. Now, culturally responsive teaching stems from the framework of culturally relevant pedagogy, which was introduced by scholar Gloria Ladson-Billings in the 1900s. Ladson-Billings was tired of the commonly held narrative that Black children were deficient and defiant, and that there was something wrong with them. Instead, she wanted to find out what was right with Black children and their families and their communities. To do so, she researched the practices of effective teachers of Black students. Over the years, culturally responsive teaching has evolved, right? And we all may say that. So what then is culturally responsive teaching? It is a student-centered approach to education. It builds on the premise that each student contributes to the classroom their own assets, recognizing and fostering those assets promotes knowledge. Only success, but also one's minus quarter classroom that values cultural diversity. So it is very important for the teacher of the classroom to help the students to plant their roots in the ground so that their roots can always be connected. Now in Guyana, there are 6 main ethnic groups. First, we have the indigenous people, the Amerindians. We have Portuguese, we have Africans, we have East Indians, we have Chinese, we have the Europeans. It is very important that the teacher plan his or her lesson to cater for these ethnic groups. As a result, no child should feel excluded in the classroom. Let's create a more inclusive environment in their classroom. First off, teachers should get to know their students. This means knowing more about them than their academic strengths and weaknesses, but getting to know them on a personal level. Next, they should have high academic expectation of all their students. Too often, teachers for some reason believe that ESL or foreign or riverine area students believe or are incapable of learning because of maybe their language barrier or ethnic race. This is a disservice to them. Teachers should provide an opportunity for these students to speak English. The more opportunity in practice students have to speak English, the better they will be common, and they would speak English and encourage students to speak their best. Second, they should display cultures in their classroom. For example, in Guyana, we are a multicultural nation, right? And I think you might agree with me. Have some posters of individuals displaying the vastness of the culture of the students' background. Second, Display or continue to incorporate visuals into lessons. Communication can get distorted between various cultures. However, there is a common confusion when everyone in the classroom is doing the same thing. So the next part that we must do is we must incorporate a multicultural curriculum. This includes teaching from a curriculum that represents the cultural history of the country and students, of the students, and it highlights that the most effective teaching methods. It must highlight those. The next one that we have is to hear their stories. Listen to your students' stories. Why? Why should we do that? Why should we listen or hear our students' stories? We should create such assignments such as cultural studies from where students can talk about their culture and about themselves in the entire classroom. The next thing to do is to build a good rapport or relation with the parents. Now, many research have shown or stated that parents of these foreign or riverine area students are not involved as the typical parents. And the last strategy that we have is to get the names of the students right. And that means to call them by the name and have the right pronunciation. Now, this here is often an overlooked strategy, and we should aim to get the names of our students right. That means to be able to pronounce their names right, because when you mispronounce their names, they get the feeling that you don't actually care about them right now. In conclusion, it is important for teachers to implement culturally responsive strategies to embrace culturally responsive teaching, which embraces the overall quality and inclusion to help students feel empowered and support the concept of emotional learning. I want to say thank you for your time and see you soon again.